But, you know, as a parent, how do you deal with you causing trauma, right? Because no matter what you do, even if it's really small in the adult world, it's still a sliding scale for a child, right?
So this is what another thing with parenting too is you have to just accept that there is no such thing as the perfect parent. And in fact, the whole idea of perfect parenting can in fact itself be detrimental to kids.
Wow.
Is it like when parents are too perfect, like is that really good for the development of a child?
There
isn't such thing as a perfect parent.
Yeah, but what is...
All of us
I've met some pretty amazing parents.
We can have amazing parents, no doubt, but all of us will have some form of trauma, some form of discomfort in our life. And part of growing up is just learning how to deal with that. And I think no matter what you do as a parent, there is going to be some things you do wrong. And that's okay, because there isn't a perfect human. So there's no need for there to be a perfect parent. In fact, you can even argue like the perfect parenting is almost detrimental to a kid because you're not giving them a chance to overcome any kind of adversity.
Right. And they're not interesting, the kids.
Yeah.
You know, they just become kind of like normalized, which I guess we need more of that.
We just need to, you know, I think as a parent, teaching kids how to be aware of their trauma and work with it is key.
I feel like this is an interesting comparison to the state of the world in a way, right? Because the way you're describing it is it's actually not just a path to the development of another soul and human being in front of you, but it's also a pathway to self-acceptance.
Right.
Right? And accepting your own flaws and your ability to be an imperfect person and how that can have tremendous effect on another human being's developmental cycle. You know, like coping with that is a pretty profound philosophical learning curve.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be?
Well, I think also, do you remember the point in your life when you realized your parents weren't perfect?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's a big learning point, I think, for kids as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're told.
Later or earlier, you think?
I think earlier.
Yeah.
I don't think I was ever under any delusions. I have very good parents, but I wasn't under any delusions that they were perfect.
I was under delusions.
Really? Yeah.
For sure.
That's very common, though, because we're told as kids, like, you know, there are a lot of things that my parents did that I will never do if I ever have kids.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like everyone has those stories, and it wouldn't be fair to point to those and say, well, at least in my life, I can't speak for other people, but, you know, in my life, the mistakes are all beautiful mistakes, you know, because at the same time, if I didn't learn what darkness means in a human being, I wouldn't know how to deal with it, right? And I guess this goes back to your perfect parenting thing, where if you're dealing with a perfect parent, how do you cope with darkness?
How do you make a mistake if your parents are perfect?
Right. And how do you feel about that?
Right.
And more importantly, how do you deal with your relationships when the other person is in a dark moment?
Or isn't perfect.
Or isn't perfect.
Yeah.
And then you have this weird expectation.